Hello, my name is Jelelle Awen, and this is day 2 of 33 days with me, this series called Deepen. And I hope you enjoyed taking in the video from yesterday. That was focused on this new year of 2019 and just feeling your intentions for this year and what you are feeling in your heart and soul that you most want to manifest during 2019. So I want to carry that energy into today, day 2, but I also want to bring a bit of a narrower focus to start focusing in on these parts or aspects of self that we work with in our SoulFullHeart process. And these parts, really you could think of them as different energy tones and subpersonalities. There's different ways to talk about them. But essentially, they feel like an inner family. And we're going to start our focus today. I'm going to teach about, and then I'm also going to lead you on a guided meditation to connect with the part that we call the inner protector. And this is an extremely important part of us. And I've really come to feel that over the last 2 years, especially, that I've been working with mostly women and connecting with probably hundreds of protectors. So I've seen and felt this consistency about them and this overall sense of what they're like. And I'm just going to say a little bit about that, what I've noticed about them, but also how they form. And what I've found, what I've discovered is that it's very natural and even critical that we form a self-protection layer, something in us that can guard and protect us, especially as we come into out of spirit form, out of soul form, and then we come into our body and into this density of 3D reality. We need some energy that can interface with that reality. And usually it needs to be pretty masculine in order to match the masculine energies that 3D reality is moving through right now. When I say 3D reality, third dimensional reality, what I'm speaking of is a more dualistic and polarized reality where you have light and dark, you have fear and love. We're working the polarities in that. And there's also a density to the energy. So it's usually very focused on the 5 senses. I'll be talking more about 3D reality in another video I'm going to do about 3D, 4D, and 5D consciousness and how that consciousness interfaces in every area of our life, but it can definitely range depending on what area of our life it is. But if we're looking at the protector, if we're looking at this part that forms, it's really forming in response to third dimensional reality. In the higher dimensional consciousnesses, you don't need that kind of guardedness and defensiveness and self-protection. Yet again, it's critical for our survival. So I really stress this to people that there's nothing wrong with having a protector, and in fact, it's really needed in order to survive here. It's healthy boundary setting, for example. But what happens to the protector is that it gets locked down in these more defensive frequencies and energies, particularly for women. It becomes very protective, we could say overly protective, of some of the feminine, softer, more vulnerable aspects of our being, such as the inner child and the inner teenager, which I'll be doing meditations on during this series as well. The protector is almost always masculine, either masculine in form as a male or a very masculine feminine, like a warrior princess kind of energy, and very often has a weapon of some kind, not hardly ever to harm other people, but more as protection. So I've seen everything from shields to swords to whips to being able to create energetic force fields. It really depends on the soul. And that protector is going to grab anything it can to try to protect you, particularly coming in after early infancy. I would say around the 2 to 3 year old age, when we start developing our ego, when we start realizing that we're not the one, we're not all, and we're not our parents, but we have an identity and a personality that's separate. And I found that protector comes in usually around that point. And, if I see school children playing in a schoolyard, I can feel their protectors are there. So it's a guarding energy frequency that you've probably felt your whole life. You just may not have identified it as a separate energy. And that's what we're going to do today. And the remarkable thing about the protector that I have found over and over and over again is that they are incredibly loyal. They are totally vigilant and focused on protecting you and protecting your tender heart and protecting parts of you. And to the degree that they haven't been able to do that, because of course we all have trauma, we all have situations that we've drawn to us in which our protector was not able to prevent it. The protector can have quite a bit of guilt and shame about that. And there's almost always at the beginning an expression of that of some kind. Sometimes it's as extreme as, I really failed you and I'm so sorry. And other times it's just, I wish I could have done more. And one of the really helpful things that we do with the protector in an ongoing process is really help them feel the divine and a divine surrender, and that all of it, everything that we choose, even the most traumatic things, are an aspect of our learning and our growth. So that can be really big for our protectors to start feeling that. As they start feeling you show up as separate from them. I'm going to talk about this quite a bit in this series, what we call diffusion. So fusion is when these parts that I'm going to be introducing you to, there's no separation between them, between your energy and their energy. So that is a fusion. You start to diffuse as you become conscious of them. Even doing this simple meditation that you're going to do today will begin that diffusion process. What diffusion offers is objectivity. It offers you to become what people talk about, this objective witness to your own life. You become a lot more compassionate, and suddenly you can hold space for these parts of yourself that really need it. So the protector often is very tired and overwhelmed and just wants to be done, just doesn't want to be so vigilant anymore. And especially if, you probably wouldn't be watching this if you weren't, but for awakening souls, that protector is not so dense, it's not so armored or guarded. It really wants to let in divine love. It wants to help you let in divine love. But often, it relates to you as an inner child or an inner teenager. I will ask somebody's protector during sessions, how do you see this person? And they will say, oh, they're young, they're like 12. I have to protect them. They don't know what they're doing. So they don't see you as the adult that you are. They don't see you as very often as the awakening being that you are. And this is why so often I'll hear from people on one edge of their being, what I call their leading edge. They have this spaciousness, and they have so much feeling of the divine, and they have so much trust and surrender in life. And then on the another edge of their being, what I call the trailing edge of their being, they feel locked down, and they're depressed, and they're sad, and they're protective, and they aren't letting intimacy into the deeper levels that they want to. That's just an example of how it can feel when you don't have access to this protector aspect. who isn't really seeing you as the awakening being that you are. But through connection, like we're going to do today, this part of you can start seeing you that way. And not only that, it can start resting. The protector, as it starts healing, moves into more of a collaborative guide with you. It really starts becoming a partner with you. Instead of this often a pretty extreme inner polarity, where you'll have a protector, this masculine guarded energy, and then you'll have a wounded inner child or inner teenager. For women, that would be a feminine energy. For men too, often. So this protector can only relate to the inner child by getting more protective and locking down. And then your awakening self is kind of not really able to go into that scene or into that dynamic. And so it's compartmentalized. This is also why I feel that people can go to a retreat, for example, and meditate for hours and just feel amazing, but then they go back into their lives and they maybe lock down again, or they shut down, or they don't feel that sense of trust or ease. One aspect of that is because of their protector. So the protector part comes in, especially if you're in a relationship that isn't nourishing to you, consciously nourishing to you. So a long-term marriage or relationship, and maybe you're going to those retreats in order to get some sense of soul, but then you're coming back into that relationship. That your protector is definitely going to be activated around that. So that's something that you can start to look at. You can start to, my favorite word really in this process is negotiate. So you can start to negotiate these grounds with this part of you. And once you can begin to negotiate, then you can move it into another energy. And I think every protector I've ever met really wants to negotiate, really wants to collaborate, is tired and just wants to move into the new, but doesn't know how, and needs to feel like there's a bigger you there holding the space for that connection. So I'm going to be sharing with you also some writing I have done about the protector, and this will lead us eventually to the gatekeeper, which is kind of an upstream energy of the protector. But we'll start today with the protector, a pretty simple meditation that we like to do with people before sessions and during sessions. And if you already have pretty good access to your protector, it should also help you deepen with that part of yourself as well. So we will go in and see what happens. And as always, whatever comes up for you around this is exactly what you're meant to see and feel. So I have noticed some people can see clairvoyantly quite a bit. Other people can hear clairaudiently really well. Other people can feel clairsentiently or know something. I also feel there's clair-feelers who have just this beyond ability to feel. And some of you may have all of those activated. Whatever ways work for you, what I do find with this process is that all of that becomes more and more blended. So the feeling, seeing, and knowing and hearing all come together, and working with the protector helps to open those out because it's less guarded about that. So let's see what happens. And I closed my eyes. If you want to close yours too. And we'll start bringing our focus and our energy inward. Connecting to our breath. And we're going to invite the divine feminine and divine masculine to hold the space with us today. And I'm feeling Sophia again, as I did yesterday. You can see her with long brown hair. She usually has a yellow gown on and a cloak. I don't know why yellow. Maybe you see her in a different color or even in a different appearance. Maybe there's an aspect of the Divine Mother that you really resonate with. So whatever form she comes forward to you in this moment is a blessed one. And we'll invite the Divine Masculine. I'm seeing Metatron again, a white beard and white hair, beaming eyes of love. This is for support for you, to meet your protector, to feel held by divine support in doing that. So you're standing in a forest with trees around you. Metatron and Mary, or Sophia, that's funny. Maybe it's both, are supporting you. I'm here. And you see a clearing in the woods, a path that you start to walk toward and on. And feel pure white light energy around you. It's just supportive, higher frequency energy. You're walking on this path. And eventually you open out into a clearing. In that clearing is a castle. And that castle is your essence. Really, we could say it represents you in this moment. Take in your castle. Look at it. Maybe you see many details. Or maybe not. It may be quite grand, or very simple. Lit up, or in the dark. Just take in whatever you're meant to see and feel here. If you're having challenges in seeing, you might place your right hand over your third eye on your forehead to give some energy to your third eye, to visualize. We do a lot of visualization. Every time we read a book, we're visualizing the scene. It's just connecting it to our inner worlds. It takes some practice. Most people I have found can see their own castles and can be quite descriptive about them. And it's okay if it's a little foggy for you today. As you're taking in your castle, and maybe you also are noticing the grounds of the castle, we're going to ask the protector of the castle to come forward to meet us. As your protector comes forward, notice what he looks like, or I'm going to say he because it's usually a he. Notice if he has a weapon, if he's wearing armor of some kind. You could notice his age. Also feel what he feels like. What is his energy like? Is he guarded, suspicious, welcoming, confused, guilty feeling? What does he feel like? You may hear him say something to you. It might be very clear. Sometimes it can be, "What are you doing here?" or "Get out of here." Or, "I'm so glad you came. It's about time. I've been waiting for you." Those are the kinds of things you might hear. If your protector is quite foggy to you or not in clear form, you can ask him to come into more form for you so that you can see him and relate with him. They're just not used to being connected with directly. Usually if you ask, they will go into form for you. You can ask your protector if there's a name that you can call him. That may come right away, a name, or it might sort of bop around and settle into one, or you may not get one today. You may get a name of a boyfriend or a husband or a father. And your protector may look like one of those men in your life. That is common. I've seen that quite a bit. It's just a form that the protector takes that it knows you'll be comfortable with or that you're familiar with. And a masculine energy that usually in some form admires or has been able to template off of. You may be having quite an exchange with your protector right now, like a lot of dialogue is opening out, and even embracing or tears it can be very emotional. And just allow that emotion to move through you. Or you may feel kind of a distance or a fog or disconnect between you and your protector. Maybe it's being aloof. That's okay too. We want to invite your protector to begin to move into connection with you and into deepening trust with you and to negotiation. But that is a process that takes time and consistency on your side. This part of you often has a lot that it can tell you about your current timeline, what its concerns are about your relationship, your career, your service of love. You can ask your protector anything you'd like to and see what their answer is. You can do that through this connection that you have right now in this meditative space, or you can journal and write to them back and forth, or you can do both. Just take this moment to continue to deepen this connection. If you feel any fear of your protector, or they feel dark or evil to you, that could be an inner child part of you that has maybe more of a antagonistic relationship with them. And that is something we will go into as we meet your inner child and your inner teenager in the series. But if you can hold in your heart love and curiosity and compassion toward this protector, that will go a long way to building trust. So I haven't met one yet that was truly evil. And all of them, I'd say all of them, have a beautiful energy and a masculine that wants to move into a sacred masculine. So I feel a lot of love in my heart and gratitude toward your protector. I want to thank them for being here for you, for guarding you the best they knew how. And I feel a divine thanking them as well. They are so honored. And as they move more into divine love and support and becoming a gatekeeper, they will feel that more and more. And so will you. So go ahead and say goodbye for now to your protector. Begin to move away from your castle, back into the present moment and open your eyes. I'm used to doing that journey with people in sessions, just one person in a session, so it's quite wonderful to provide that bridge to more of a exponential offering. And I really hope that you got something from that. And if you, by the way, in any of my meditations, if you find that you just fall asleep or you pass out, I've learned to really trust that. It's exactly what's needed, and the video is waiting for you whenever you want to take it in again. Sometimes that passing out is a calibration to my energy, and the soothing, the Divine Mother in it, the bridging to these aspects, because they have been mostly subconscious. So we're bringing them into your consciousness. It's a form of hypnosis in a way, but it's self-hypnosis. And it gets less and less altered feeling, where it's more and more your conscious reality. The two come together. So I'm so honored as always to provide a bridge to these beautiful aspects of Protector. And I'd love for you to share with me, if you'd like to, about what you experienced in the comment sections on Facebook or on YouTube or on the blog, and to take in with you this beautiful opening of this amazing aspect. And I will see you and connect with you tomorrow.